Welcome into K-State Online. Mason Voth, Drew Galloway here with you. Same close as yesterday. I promised you we'd have football content for you. It'd be a little bit quicker. I wouldn't ramble about Shamu and my experiences on a spring break trip in 2008 with a killer whale, and I'm fulfilling that promise. We will remind you real quick, though. You might be able to see some killer whales not named Shamu if you go to Ireland, as we found out yesterday. If you want to be in Ireland to see the cats, the clones, killer whales, and a bunch of other animals that you're probably not going to see in America naturally, go to cats2ireland.com. Get over to Dublin to see the 2025 Aer Lingus College Football Classic. You need your flight. Boom, cats2ireland.com. You need, to live like a fancy person, nice hospitality packages. Boom, cats2ireland.com. And yeah, don't forget, you also need to get in to watch the game, cats2ireland.com. They will take care of almost everything you need to take in the 2025 Aer Lingus College Football Classic. So before we get in to this K-State football recruiting update, Drew, I need an Ireland fun fact update.
Food is important, obviously, when you're going places and you want to know what you could have. The national dish of Ireland is Irish stew. It is a hearty, comforting dish, typically made with lamb or beef, potatoes, onions, and carrots.
Interesting.
So it's a comfort food. It is widely enjoyed throughout the country. I would imagine that at one point during our Ireland trip, we will have Irish stew. I don't want to go as far as to say that will be like what the press box meal is, but it wouldn't be a surprise.
I am interested in what the cuisine is going to look like over there because, again, I'm somebody that's never been outside of the country, so I do not know what to expect. And I certainly imagine that Ireland's probably a little bit more tame than some other places worldwide that I could go, but I imagine it'll be different. So I look forward to seeing what that ends up looking like. Let's get into it. Talk a little K-State football recruiting. We did an update last week. There was some news that I thought was notable where, you go back a couple of months and it seemed like, hey, the Ian Premer thing, the top player in Kansas for 2026, like maybe that's slipping away from K-State, or not necessarily slipping away, but just may not be something that comes together. And then the last couple of weeks, you've been like, they're still the only official visit scheduled. And it seems like K-State is going to be in this thing until the very end.
Yeah, K-State's going to be in this until the very end. They're still the only official visit scheduled that Ian Premer has. You look around, I think Iowa State, KU are in the mix. I think Notre Dame is in the mix. I would probably say that Notre Dame is probably second, third. But he is really focusing on his recruitment now, kind of for, I don't want to say for the first time, but like it feels like he's really focused on wanting to find the right fit. He's all about football now, even though he's playing baseball at Great Bend as well. Like he is a true three-sport athlete, kind of like Avery Johnson and Lincoln Cure. But you kind of dive into this, and he seems to really be honed in on what he's doing because he's not really doing any interviews anymore. And he seems to be really focused on just taking spring visits, about to take official visits. But right now, K-State, June 20th is still the only one that he has scheduled.
So you want to put a percentage chance on this that he ends up a cat? Keeping in mind that it's April 17th.
Keeping in mind that
screams in the background.
Keeping in mind that it's April 17th, I would say, and you got to remember in recruiting, things are so fluid that you can never have like a crazy high percentage at this stage. I'd say like 30%.
Okay, that's fine. I think most would take 30 at this stage, given how some of the updates have fluctuated over time.
Because
okay,
I don't think that they're the runaway leader, but I think that they are probably, when you're the only team that keeps getting mentioned, that's typically a good sign.
Okay, all right, that's good news. Let's move on. Where else is some good news shaping up for K-State? Because you've been bringing this up many times, and we've talked about it a lot on the running back front, where we know that there's 1,000 running backs in play for one, maybe two spots in this recruiting class. It's kind of the class as a whole. K-State's got a large number of official visits on the docket for about a month and a half, 2 months from now. What can you tell us on what the plan is here?
Yeah, it's really fascinating because this class will still be small, but as opposed to other classes that K-State has had that's been on the smaller side, 2024 really comes to the forefront of my mind on how they handled that, where there was, I think, like 15, 16 official visits in the summer is all, and they had a lot of, because they had a small class, but also had some guys that came in and committed during the spring. So they only had like 15 or 16 uncommitted guys come in and take official visits in the summer. Well, they've completely shifted that philosophy for this coming class. They've had a lot of guys come in during the spring already. They're going to have more this weekend and more this week as we're recording this right now. But right now we have K-State at 40 official visits scheduled for the summer, and that number is just going to grow because there's a couple guys that I know that are going to come in and take official visits that they just haven't had scheduled yet. Do all of those guys make it to campus for an official visit? Probably not. That's just going to be how it goes. Like, some are going to commit other places. Some, I would imagine that they kind of do like a mutual parting of ways where they don't end up actually taking the visit. And then some just aren't going to get to campus because there's only maybe one spot at that position, and that spot could be taken. What's going to be fascinating in all this is, who does K-State prioritize? Because you're creating this pressure and urgency to join the class. There's a lot of really talented guys that are taking official visits to K-State. Who do you prioritize on? This is a guy that we'd take no matter what. This is a guy that we would take if we lose out on a guy or two. This is a guy that's like our third or fourth option. Who gets the priority on how this ends up going is going to be fascinating, because I'm really excited to see it, because I think that there's a potential for maybe 90 to 95% of the class to be finalized after the summer, because they're really close on a lot of guys, and it feels like we say this every year, because this is kind of just how K-State recruits under Chris Kleiman. They're always like really on the brink of the dam breaking leading into the summer and have a flurry of commits in the summer. So I think that most of the class will be filled out by the summer, but I'm just fascinated to see who gets priority over who, because a lot of these guys are at least comparable, but there's a lot of really talented guys too that go with that.
Yeah, I'm going through it right now of guys that were added after the summer last year. And I think, let's see, it's going to be putting us in. They added a little bit more than what you would be accustomed to. They added 7 guys after the summer last year, but they had 25 commits in the last class. So that's 18 were done before that, and the guys that they added on afterwards were a couple of junior college guys. So those are a little bit different than the high school guys. And then we know some of the high school guys that they got late were significant adds. A guy like Larry Porter being one of them that kind of came down the wire. But I think it makes people feel better when you get a lot of it done in the summer. And this feels like one of those like arcade machines that like is pushing all the coins, and you're just like, okay, I need that one coin to push, and then we're about to get a bunch of them. And some people wait, and it never happens, and you're screwed. But the way you put it into perspective, it makes you feel like K-State's close to just getting a bunch of them to fall through.
Yeah, I think that the class will be pretty full. Like, last year was just different because last year was like the 2023 class where they just had a lot more space. This class, it doesn't look like they have that much space, which I think it's a good thing that they're having all these official visits and creating urgency, because if you create urgency, you're more likely to get guys that not only that you really want, but the guys that are closer to the top of what your recruiting board was.
Any substantial names that have recently popped onto the radar that people need to know about, or interesting recruitments that people should at least be aware of, and maybe go to KSO to check out more?
Yeah, I would say Savorian Martin is somebody that you should really know about. He's a guy that is a fringe 4-star corner from Texas. Pretty raw right now, but can really, really run. I mean, we've seen what K-State can do with corners that are raw but can run. Zayshawn Rich played in every game as a true freshman, but he didn't really know what was going on yet, but they knew that he was fast enough so he could figure it out. And then now they anticipate him taking a big leap this season. Savorian Martin would fit that bill to a T. And he is just going to get better because he's only like 175 pounds right now because he is a great athlete on the track. And then another one, he also has an update on KSO. Go read it. There's some good quotes in it. The other one that I'd say is Keegan Collins, an offensive lineman, also from Texas. K-State seems to be doing really well with him. He even admitted on KSO, again, go read his update, but he said K-State's his number one team right now. And he has offers from Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and Arizona. And so it's always good to be beating other Big 12 schools and other comparable schools.
And a lot of these guys have recently taken unofficial visits and have seemingly pointed out, like, I like when recruits now are at the stage where they go, everybody's got a nice stadium, everybody's got nice locker rooms, all this stuff. Like, you're getting more and more of these guys that, I'm not blown away by the facilities or whatever, because everybody's got those. It's the people and the coaches and everything. And that's where K-State seems to be making up serious ground for a lot of these guys you're talking about.
Yes, that is exactly correct. The coaching staff is something that gets pointed out on every visit, and every person that comes through K-State always talks about how they feel welcome from the jump and that they always feel like a priority from the jump. And that's just something that doesn't happen at other schools, so it needs to be celebrated. I mean, I even had a recruit's parent talk to me about how they can't wait to go back up for an official visit at K-State because it just felt like family, and the staff really made them all feel welcomed. So when you even get the families talking about that, that's a big deal. Another guy that I think needs to be talked about, but actually doesn't have an offer yet. It's Lawson McGrath. He is the son of John McGrath. That is John's boy. So the bit doesn't really work when it actually is his. But he doesn't have an offer yet. But I would not be shocked if that changes during the summer when he comes to a K-State camp. And I would be willing to venture on what is going to be April 18th when this comes out. Lawson McGrath will be in the K-State class this year. He doesn't have an offer yet. That will change, and he will probably commit.
Okay.
And I say that because if you look at positions that have official visits going for them, what position doesn't really have a lot of names, Mason?
Linebacker.
What position does Lawson McGrath play, Mason?
He is a linebacker.
Do you think that that's a coincidence?
Yep. Seems like all this might make some sense.
And another thing that goes with that is that K-State needs to keep guys home and keep them in Kansas. McGrath has offers from G5 schools right now. A lot of Power 4 schools want to see him come and work out and do a camp. I would even say if McGrath is just okay to pretty good at the camp, like he will probably get an offer. And I would be willing to bet a majority, like a large chunk of money, that he would commit to K-State if K-State offered.
Yeah, that would seem like it would make some serious sense there. Here would be the maybe the comparison, not necessarily directly the same, but because it was a brother thing, not a father son thing. But would this be a little like the Ashton Moore situation, right last year? Because when did he get his offer? That was
Moore got his offer after a camp as well.
Okay, and that which would have been in May.
Yes, it hit the camp that he went to was like the last weekend of May.
Okay, and then he committed mid-July when we were at Big 12 Media Days. So,
Yeah.
you know, if that's the one that to me kind of came in as the comp where it's like, hey, there are things we like about you as a recruit, but we also know, like, you know, these guys aren't dummies coaching at K-State. They know that, you know, John McGrath was a pretty good player, and they were at least able to see firsthand, oh, hey, Austin Moore is pretty good. If he's got a brother, we like him. And numerous times throughout it, you said, well, Ashton's the better high school recruit than what Austin was. So,
and the other part that goes with that is those are the kind of guys that, like, K-State number one can't really afford to miss on them going other places, but they can't miss on what their evaluation is too. So having McGrath and Moore come in for a camp is really important. And I would even say that McGrath is even better than Ashton Moore was last year. Because if you look at what Moore's recruitment was leading into the camp, it was pretty quiet, where McGrath has, I think, a handful of group of 5 offers now.
yeah, yep, he does. So a lot of good stuff there. We'll have more on the recruiting front next week. It'll be a short turnaround for us. I'll make sure that we'll do another recruiting update before I have a second kid and am out for a little bit. So we'll do another wave of this to get everybody up to speed towards, you know, the end of April next week. And then probably the next time we do a recruiting update after that, we'll have a much clearer picture of official visit season and how that might turn out. But if you want to read all the updates that Drew has over at K-State Online right now, go to On3, find KSO, get signed up if you're not. If you do sign up, you got access to all the inside info on the message boards, which also means you're getting to talk with one of the bigger communities of Cap fans in the world. And a lot going on over there right now. Is most of it basketball related? Yes, but trust me, plenty of football stuff going on, and plenty of other things for when football or basketball aren't getting you excited to spend your time with. So it's a great place to be. We hope you join us at KSO if you're not, and if you already are a part of K-State Online and the community we got over there, we appreciate it. And that'll do it for us for today and this week. If anything breaks basketball-wise over the weekend, we'll be right back here with transfer portal coverage and always online at KSO. So for Drew Galloway, I'm Mason Voth. Thanks for watching and listening to the KSO Show.